Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Konashiro. They typically sit unnoticed on the street corners in every city, but here in Fremont they are being transformed into works of art. Fremont's BoxArt program invites artists to use the city's street utility boxes as canvases to showcase their creativity. As part of the program, the City of Fremont has partnered with the Fremont Unified Schools to give students the opportunity to express themselves and demonstrate their artistic abilities to commuters and pedestrians throughout the city. Here to talk about more about the BoxArt program is manager Susan Langani. Am I saying that right?
Langini.
Okay. And then art instructor Megan Olson from American High School. Thank you so much, and I apologize for butchering your name.
No problem.
Okay. Now, I have to find out because I do see all the box art all over the city. I think is fabulous. How did this start? Did you invent this program, or did another city have it and you adopted it, or how did this work?
This is a program that's actually been around for a while and in other cities.
Okay.
And so it was brought forward to Fremont a couple times before it actually had traction. And one of the big things, it's beautiful,
yes,
and it really enhances the city. But beyond that, it reduces graffiti, and that is something that the city was very interested.
Yes. What I love most of all is that whether you're just driving by or walking by, you see the artists working, and you kind of take pride in that. It's one of our own making this artwork. So yeah, they want to protect that, and I think that
Yes.
hinders graffiti.
There's a certain respect, even
Yeah.
among graffiti artists, or I wouldn't even call the people who are tagging graffiti artists. A graffiti artist is in fact an artist.
Oh no, they're beautiful.
But the taggers respect generally artwork,
Yeah.
and so they move on to something else. But it has in fact actually reduced graffiti in its entirety in the city, and
Nice.
it has transformed boxes that would be normally at best nothing, ugly. Thank you for
You're welcome.
telling it like it is. To something beautiful in it. It puts this smile on people's faces, and that changes your attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's an instant thing, if you smile, if it makes you feel better and feel pride in your community, then it's done its job.
Yeah, yeah. So how are the artists chosen? I mean, can anyone sign up for this, or?
We have periodic calls to artists, and we notify the schools, we notify different newspapers on the website,
Okay.
different language newspapers, and then anyone who cares to submits according to the rules, and then the art review board is
Okay.
the entity that makes the decision on what is accepted.
Okay.
And each time we call, we've had a different theme.
Oh, so you guys actually choose the theme, it's not the artist choosing
Yes,
the theme.
so there are always themes. And I've worked with students, and I don't actually remember what the theme was. And then I've done one as a professional artist too, and then there was a different theme. So
Nice.
I think that there's been 3 or 4 different calls for artists, and so you get a form, your work has to fit in their format, and then you submit it, and then you hear back.
Okay.
And then from then you have a window of opportunity, and they prep the box, and then you go out, you paint the box, then they come out and check the box, and then I believe it's coated with like an anti-graffiti clear coat. And then
After it's
done.
painted.
After it's done.
Yeah, that's what I
yes.
thought.
So, that's the
if
whole
I'm one of your students, I fill out my form, I submit my work, do I have to present myself in front of the art review board, or is it all just done electronically? I mean, that's nerve-wracking.
So the great thing for students is
Yes.
there is no oral presentation.
Yay!
Because oftentimes kids don't like those.
Yes.
So when I've done it in my classroom, I told them the prompt, and then I gave everybody the form. So everybody had the opportunity to either design their own box or work with a partner, and then both of those people would design the box. Then I would have the class vote on like the 5 or 6 best boxes, and then we would send those designs forward, so they all have buy-in.
That's nice.
It's
That's-
democratic.
Yeah, but they all, can take part in it.
Yeah, and then they
own
have a lot
it.
more ownership of
Yeah.
it. And it's a really big thing for them because I deal with high school kids and they go off to college in a year or two. So they can come back and visit their box. They've left their stamp on
Yes.
the city. So it's exciting for them.
That's my box. That's got to be cool.
They
for
really
them.
do.
It is also permanently on the website with acknowledgement of the
Nice.
students.
And this is the City of Fremont's website, right?
The City of Fremont's website, it has BoxArt.
Nice.
Click on BoxArt, and the picture comes up and where it is and who
Yeah, I love that.
painted it. And we always ask for an inspiration statement now, usually just 1 or 2 sentences. And so
Okay.
that gives people clarity why something is what it is.
Okay. So whenever you come up with a theme, or the Fremont Review Board does, is that theme only for one box or is it for several boxes?
This last time, which is was joy, and I think we're doing about 15 boxes
Wow.
based on joy.
That's great. And so then students or whoever can have.
We will have a new call to artists coming up. The next art review board is next week, the next meeting, and we're going to have it specifically, I believe, I'm not a voting member, but I believe it's just for students.
Nice.
And the theme Joy was so popular. We had more submissions than ever before. I don't know if they're going to continue that because it's so open-ended. You know,
Yeah. What does joy mean?
and what has happened is that people have emailed me and said, people who drive by, I love this box. It makes me so happy. And I'm thinking, it's done its work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be joy. We've had communication, we've had nature,
Yeah.
we've had agriculture. So we're trying to encompass.
Do you know how many boxes we have?
We have over 170.
170. Wow.
We have a big physical plant in Fremont.
Oh, yeah, we do. That's great. So I know you're involved with other teachers in other high schools. Do you three get together and say, okay, here's the theme, how do we work this out? Or how
I
do we...
would love if we had time to do
Yeah,
that.
no, you're teachers. You're teachers. I'm
But
just
we
thinking
don't have time
big.
to do that. We just drive around and I go, oh, there's another one. I wonder who's working on it. So we see each other online. There's a teachers Facebook group, you know, and so I'll say, oh, Christina did another one. How exciting. Oh, there's one from Mission that they're working on. That's great. But we don't usually work together physically because when you're doing the box art, you really can't do it during the school day.
Right.
It's an added amount of time.
Right.
So I've done them over the Thanksgiving break. I've done them after school in June. So it's just whenever the teacher and the kids' schedules allow.
So is it safe to say it takes you a week to fully paint it? Is that safe to say?
It's hard to say. I would say that in the past, the first one we did took about 2 weeks to fully paint everything because we didn't have very many students working.
Okay.
The second one, I had maybe 8 students working. It took about a week, but sometimes you have 2 boxes to work on, you know, so it can take a week to 2 weeks or something
just
like
depending
that.
upon the manpower.
Depending upon the amount of students, depending on the weather, you know, there's that added element of working outside, which is exciting. But all of a sudden they understand what Monet went through. They understand how it was to be
We have
Van
more
Gogh.
respect for him.
It's hot out here.
Yes, it is. And you're on cement or asphalt.
There's
and-
no bathroom.
I know. No, yeah, there isn't.
The whole thing.
How do you get more students involved? Do you also, I mean, besides letting your own students know in your classroom, do you have some kind of newsletter? Does it go on to get, because there could be a student who's not in an art class, but really is very artistic and loves painting and.
Yeah, we do have an art club on our campus, so I am the advisor for that. So we do talk about it then. We talk about a lot of volunteer opportunities throughout the community, so they hear about it either in my class or they could hear about it in the art club or they could just drive around. I've had kids that I don't know come and say, hey, I want to do an art box. And I was like,
That's nice.
I'm not in charge of that, but that sounds good. I'll try to keep your name on it. I'm glad you think I'm in charge of everything.
Now, when you first introduced this program to the students, what was their response? Were they excited? Were they like, "You're from Mars"? I mean,
They were, I tried to prepare them by explaining the difference between easel art and public art. So
Right.
easel art being the art you see in a museum,
right.
and then public art being the art that just happens when you're walking around in the city. So we talked about Diego Rivera, we talked about the Mexican muralist movement, we talked about the WPA, and then I brought it up to them as their opportunity to make their mark on the city. So it was excitement, but I tried to bring in some historical cultural points of view as
I
well.
love that. That's great. Now,
Art teacher stuff.
what is has the community expressed any of their responses to you? I mean, are you getting good feedback from the businesses?
Every
or-
time we're out, they're very excited.
good.
So there's parents, there's joggers, there'll be bikers. They're always really excited.
Nice.
And the businesses like it too. We've never had any bad reaction
That's
that I've
good.
heard of.
That's
know.
I actually think this is the one Fremont program, and maybe every city's finding this, that it has almost universal celebration.
Yes.
People love it.
Yeah.
It's improving existing infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
and people like that.
So out of the 150-ish boxes we have, how many more that needs painting?
We've done about almost 70,
So
we still have a
halfway?
lot more.
Yeah.
And what will happen is that a box might degrade over time for whatever reason and need to have a new painting over it. We call it a long-term temporary artwork. So we're
Yes.
hoping,
It's out in the
we're
weather.
saying like 4 years, but we're hoping that it's more. But there are a couple boxes that need to be repainted.
Weathered. Yeah.
Stuff has happened.
Yeah. It's life.
It is life. And
So
they're
this-
out in, outside in the element, on the street. And the city itself has things that it has to do to the boxes sometimes, and that it helps. It unfortunately sometimes impacts the artwork that may be on there.
So, with that said, your students' grandkids could keep it up.
My students' younger siblings.
That's true too. That's true too. Now, when did this program start here in Fremont? 2-3 years ago?
5 years
5
ago,
years
almost
ago?
exactly. Make a Difference Day in
Okay.
2014.
And what do you see the future plans of this program
Well,
to keep it going? And
to keep it going, that's number one. But because it has been so successful on really every level, we are looking for other opportunities for people to paint in the public realm.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I'd love it to expand to more mural art.
Uh-huh.
There's-
That's where I was going.
Exactly.
Yeah, there
Exactly.
are a few walls that
Yes.
one itches to paint.
Yes, because it
know.
needs it.
It would
Something
be
needs to
nice.
be there.
It
Yeah.
would be
Yes.
a lovely thing. I think if, the interest was there and the funding was there, it would be an amazing opportunity for students to really make a difference. I mean, one of the things that I love to do is bring the art out of the classroom, try to impact the community culture as a whole.
Yes.
And there are a few murals in Niles, but there's
A lot more
so
walls.
much that
Yes.
could be done with
Yes.
so many more. And there are, even painting the crosswalks. I heard about in New York City, they did a rainbow crosswalk. And so
Oh,
now
that's right.
whenever I see the crosswalks,
Yeah.
I think, man,
We
that
could
have
do that.
color. Like,
Yeah.
we could do more.
It needs vines
So,
all around.
yeah, it would be
Needs something.
great to expand the project if that was a possibility.
You're working on that, right?
I am very actively, actually, and I think that the city of Fremont has become receptive to that.
That's awesome.
The wheels turn slowly,
Yeah, they do. They do.
but they are turning.
That's great.
So
Now-
I think we will see more vibrancy, and we love involving the students.
That's great.
They are fabulous artists, and I have to just say it, that there are fabulous teachers that help
Yes.
bring this out.
Now I have
So
to
thank
ask.
you, Megan.
Oh, sure.
Yes, thank
and
you.
all the other teachers.
And all
we
the other
work
teachers,
really
too.
hard.
Yes, I mean,
I
we,
can squeeze in one more question.
Sure.
The art supplies, is that donated? Is that something the community can help with?
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Okay,
But,
so should they-
so the way that it's working now is they are pretty specific. They want you to use really high quality
Yes.
house paint, so there are only specific ones you can purchase.
Or they can just
And
give you
then-
money?
They do. They give you
Yeah.
a stipend.
Yeah.
So I think the last one I did was like $200,
Okay.
which basically covers the paint
Okay.
and the brushes.
So should they
So-
want to donate, our viewing audience, who should they contact, or should they go to the city's website, or?
they
That's a good
should
question.
contact me,
Okay.
Susan Longini, and my email address is boxart@fremont.gov. So BOXART@fremont.gov.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun. I'm so excited about this because I love this program. It is
Thank
so
you.
much fun to see when you're driving around. But thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
And
having
from
us.
everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you.